right, today we're tackling one of the biggest, most important questions in all of artificial intelligence, and we're pulling from the great work in understanding deep learning. We are talking about the AI value alignment problem.
So, here it is, the central question. How do we get a machine to actually understand and share our values? I mean, think about it. As these AI systems get more and more powerful, how do we guarantee they're actually working for our benefit? How do you take something as messy and human as our values and translate that into the cold, hard logic of code? Let's get into it.
So let's put a formal name to this: the value alignment problem. It's the challenge of making sure that an AI's goals, its objectives, are actually lined up with what we as humans really want. And, on paper, that sounds pretty straightforward, right? But as you're about to see, this is where things get really, really tricky.
To really get our heads around this, we can actually borrow a fantastic concept from a totally different world, the world of economics. Okay, so imagine you're the boss, you're the principal, and you give a job to your super smart assistant, the AI, that's your agent. We do this all the time, right? Every time you ask your phone for directions or tell a smart speaker to play a song. The problem, the misalignment, happens when that agent follows your instructions perfectly, to the letter, but still doesn't do what you actually wanted.
And what's super interesting is that this whole thing can go wrong in two completely different ways. On one hand, you've got what's called the outer alignment problem. Honestly, that one's on us. It's when we write the wrong instructions. We give the AI a bad goal, a poor proxy for what we really care about. But then there's the inner alignment problem. That's when we give it the right goal, but the AI just doesn't learn it correctly. Maybe because of bad data or flawed training.
And listen, this isn't some far-off sci-fi concern. This is happening right now, today. Let's look at a real-world case study that perfectly illustrates the stakes here.
So a few years ago, researchers developed an algorithm called Pulse. The idea was pretty cool and simple. You feed it a blurry, pixelated photo of someone's face, and the AI will generate a crisp, high-resolution version. You know that classic enhance command you see in every spy movie? Well, this was supposed to be that, but for real.
And here's where it all went sideways. When researchers fed the algorithm a low-res image of Barack Obama, it produced a high-resolution photo of a white guy. Now, the crucial thing to understand is that the AI wasn't being malicious. It was just doing math. It looked at the blurry pixels and basically asked itself, based on all the faces I've ever seen, what's the most statistically probable face that would blur down to look like this? And the data it had been trained on, yeah, it was overwhelmingly images of white people.
This is so important because it shows that the problem goes way beyond just one bad data set. This kind of misalignment can creep in at every single step of the process. It can be in the very problem we decide to solve, it can be hidden in the data we use to train the model, it can be baked into the math we use to define fairness, and it can even get worse after it's released, creating these feedback loops that just reinforce the biases that already exist in our world.
And all of this, it really points to a much deeper, more philosophical idea about the tools that we're creating.
We have this idea that science and technology are this pure, objective search for truth. But this quote from the philosopher Philip Kitcher just hits the nail on the head. He says, "We don't just look for any old truth. We chase after the truths that matter to us, the ones that are relevant to our goals. The very questions we ask, the problems we choose to solve, that choice is a reflection of our values."
So here's the bottom line. Every single choice that goes into building one of these models, what data to collect, what goal to set, what counts as an acceptable error rate, every single one of those decisions is loaded with human values. There is simply no such thing as a neutral algorithm. They are all, by their very nature, deeply value-laden.
So if we accept that, if these systems are always going to be a reflection of our values, then what does that mean for how we build them responsibly?
Well, it means this isn't a problem that a handful of engineers can just solve with some clever code. It's what's known as a collective action problem. It's got to be a conversation that includes everyone: ethicists, sociologists, artists, policymakers, you, me, the public. Yes, it's a technical challenge, but more than that, it's a deeply human one.
And that leaves us with one final, and I think very important question. If this is a challenge for all of us, for our whole society that's going to be shaped by this tech, then what's our role in it? What are the values that we actually want to see in our machines? And how do we work together to make sure that's what we get?
Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like.